Hi, this is Career Coaching X's and O's, and I am Mark Anthony Peterson. Today's topic is 6 tactics you can use to earn that raise. Everybody wants to earn more money, but in today's show, I'm going to give you tactics that show your boss that you've earned that raise. Let's jump right in. First, implement leading and lagging metrics that track your success. I know this may sound daunting, but think about your favorite athletes in football, baseball, basketball, and if you're in any sort of fantasy league, you're already tracking the metrics that they use to measure their success. If you're a running back, you're measuring total yards, yards after contact, touchdowns. If you're a baseball player, you're looking at your batting average, you're looking at your fielding percentage, your on-base percentage. If you're a basketball player, you're looking at total points, blocks, and steals. These are all indicators that are used to measure an athlete's success. These metrics also can be used in the business world to show your boss just how productive and how big of an impact you have on the business. If you don't already have metrics that are being used, create them and begin to use that as part of the lexicon to explain how and why you're succeeding. And as I mentioned, break those into leading and lagging metrics. Leading metrics because they forecast that you're going to be successful, and lagging metrics to show that you have won the game. So what are some of the ones that some of the best companies use? Companies like 3M, as a leading metric, track the number of patents because they define themselves as an innovation company. As they see the number of patents increase, they believe that's a direct correlation to revenue and profits. So if you're one of the employees responsible for innovation, that's one of your leading metrics. What about those lagging metrics? Well, many of you are probably already aware of those that executives use to measure themselves by. EVA, economic value add. EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Return on net assets. If you turn on CNBC, you will hear many chief executive officers talk in terms of both leading and lagging metrics, and I bet you dollars to donuts those metrics are found in their compensation packages that were approved by the board of directors. If your top officers are using those metrics to define their salaries and their benefits, why can't you do the same thing and create that dialogue with your boss? Number 2, benchmark your performance and your job and show how you improve the bottom line. So this builds off the first point of defining those metrics. Once you have those metrics, you can compare yourself to other people in the industry that are doing similarly situated jobs at similarly situated companies. And you can use that just like pro athletes do to set the high water mark for what you think you should be paid for the work and the impact that you're having on the corporation. If you're a top receiver, that means your stats are going to be in the top 5 of all of the receivers in the National Football League. If you're a top salesperson, the exact same comparison applies. And so you can use some great websites like Glassdoor, GetRated.com, and Payscale.com to help provide the data that makes the case for you increasing your salary. Number 3, use performance reviews to define your salary and career goals and the timeline over which you hope to achieve those goals. Many employees do not take the time to prepare for performance reviews and take the aggressive stance of trying to define a career path. If you do that in your performance reviews, and if you've done steps 1 and 2, you have a clear path to define success. You have a clear path to define your salary and the jobs that you'd like to hold, just by being straightforward. How do I become the director of logistics? How do I get my salary increased by $20,000? You may be initially met with many HR rules that salaries can't be increased more than 5%. But trust me, top employees, the company will find ways to bend or break rules to keep the best employees. And if you've defined your metrics and show that you're a top employee, they will find a way to reward you and move you into the positions that keep you adding value for the company. Number 4, champion initiatives that attract more revenue without generating new cost. Now that sounds like I'm telling you to add water and make money. But no, there are ways that you can look at the current business and find ways to squeeze out more revenue. You could sell excess capacity, and excess capacity comes in many forms. You can sell the excess capacity of machinery, which I saw in a company that I worked with, when excess capacity was sold to private label brands in order to increase revenue and make the machinery run more efficiently. You can sell ancillary services or products off of existing products. So there are lots of different ways to twist the Rubik's Cube and squeeze more revenue without adding more capital. If you can come up with those ideas, you're going to move to the top of the list when it's time to hand out raises. Number 5, champion initiatives that cut cost. Now, cutting cost is always a mainstay for executives, especially when revenues get stagnant. And my rule of thumb for anyone looking to get a corner suite office is to always start with trying to find ways to eliminate your own job. I'm going to pause and say that one more time. Find ways to eliminate your job by creating more effective and efficient ways to do the work. Many employees have an opposite view of the world. Build bureaucracies and make their organization the biggest within the business. Bigger, less efficient organizations just become targets when there's change in management and they realize that there's a lot of bloat in the corporation. But those who can eliminate the waste, eliminate their own job, trust me, new jobs are always found for those people, and it's usually higher than the job that they eliminated. To do that, you can eliminate a lot of administrative cost. In past lives, I've found ways to squeeze cost by moving from one shipper to another to get better deals. Didn't cost us anything new, just shipping, changing from one shipper to another got us 5 or 10% discount in our shipping cost. I was able to introduce freeware into the organization and eliminate tens of thousands of dollars in IT cost. So there are lots of ways that you can take services and products that you already use and squeeze a little bit of that cost out, and that goes directly to the bottom line. And nobody cares about the bottom line more than the chief executive. What's the last way? Number 6, periodically test the market. But you have to be ready to define your goals and your success factors and the terms under which you will leave to take more money from another corporation. Sometimes testing the market reminds your existing company that you are valuable and that others value you. And when you get into that negotiation, know exactly what you want. Because when your boss says, what does it take to keep you here? That needs to be a clear and precise conversation around dollars, responsibility, and job titles. If you waver and don't have that defined, the value and credibility that you've built up to that point goes directly out the window. I've coached executives who did not follow this advice, and not only did they not get what they were looking for from their existing corporation, they had to take less from the new organization. I hope these 6 tactics are useful to you in helping you get more money for the job that you do and the value that you bring to your corporation. This is Career Coaching X's and O's, and I am Mark Anthony Peterson.